All right. So I don't have a PowerPoint tonight, but I do have 10 tips for meal planning. So if you have a notebook and pen, I think that will be helpful for you. And then at the very end, I'm going to be sharing my screen so you can take a look at my real life example of how we meal plan in our home. So I have 3 children. You can hear the 2-year-old crying outside the room. I have a 6-year-old and 9-year-old. My 6-year-old is a little boy and is very, very picky with food. My 9-year-old is between her, the girls are the best eaters for sure in the house. And so I know this plays a role in your meal planning, right? You have picky eaters. And I just want you to know I'm in it deep with you. We have been picking the food battle since my babies were eating food back at 6 when they were 6 months old, and they still are picky. So I just want to give you encouragement. If you're frustrated, it's okay. It doesn't mean that we can't keep trying again. And what I have found is having my kids try things over and over and over again has actually proven to be true. You might hear that you actually need to try something about 6 or 7 times before you may enjoy it. And that's true for myself. I'm eating way healthier now than I ever used to. There are things that I never ate as a child or in college that I'm eating now and actually enjoying, specifically like things like mushrooms and peppers and onions and things like that. So there is hope for your children. I'm living proof, and I'm seeing it with my kids as they get older. So let's talk about so we're going to address a little bit about picky eaters, but I have to just put that out there because that's likely a very limiting belief sitting at the top of your mind. Is what is the point? This is a waste of my time because I make food and people don't eat it. And I am not a proponent of making 2 meals. I can't think of more than a handful of times that I've actually sat down at the dinner table, listened to the fuss, and actually got up and made something else. Or just like went into the meal making something different. There's always a way for them to eat what I'm making, whether they're picking some things out or they're using an extra condiment on the side, or we're switching up an ingredient for them that doesn't necessarily change the meal, but makes it different for them. And I'll talk about that here in a little bit. So let's start at the top. Tips for meal planning. The reason that I have gotten into meal planning is really for two reasons. Number one, I find that when I'm in the grocery store, I buy way more without a list and without a plan than with one. Do you guys, this has to be true for everybody, right? I cannot imagine that anyone else goes in with this like steel trap. I'm here for 10 things, right? It's like, how did the cart get full? I came here for like milk and bread, right? And so don't walk into the store without a plan. Just don't even do it. Just don't even go grocery shopping. It would probably be better for you to just eat something random out of the fridge until you force yourself to sit down and make a meal plan. That's kind of where I've gotten. I force myself to make a meal plan, even when it's late at night, even when my week is busy, even when all of these reasons, because I know that it's going to save me a lot of money when I get to the store. The other reason is because I don't want to go to the store 6 times a week. Some people are like in the grocery store every other day, like getting an ingredient. I don't have time for that. I don't want to spend my life in the grocery store. And COVID really, really changed that for me. I really didn't want to be in the grocery store because it was so crazy and weird. And for a while, there wasn't even the right ingredients and whatever. I'm not going to go into that. But so I really, really hunkered down the last couple of years meal planning because I plan once and I shop once. I'm only in the grocery store once a week, and I have an entire week's worth of meals in my fridge. And the ongoing joke with my husband is that I can make an entire meal out of like an empty fridge. But it doesn't matter if the fridge looks empty. I have all the ingredients for every meal that's on my list. And so it's because I planned it. So that's the first thing. Don't walk into the store without a plan. Plan once and shop once. It's going to save you so much time and money. Once you finally figure that out, you'll commit to it. I promise you. The second thing is that recipe organization for me has been everything. If things are not easily accessible, I won't do it. If I have to like flip through multiple cookbooks, multiple things to get the ingredients in a shopping list for what I need for the week, I just won't do it. And so I'm going to show you how I organize my recipes, but you don't have to have a paid system like I do. You can, a thing that I did before I had this paid system was, and this is an idea for my mom, she had an empty photo album, and then all of her recipe cards were inside the little slots of the photo album. You know what I'm talking about? Like those little, like the books, right? The photo album books. And what I decided to do was go through all of my recipes from the years that I have had them and only pull out the ones that I knew my family liked and that I knew were healthier. Like grandma's like peanut butter drop cookies, like we know where to find those in the box when we need them, right? I wanted a recipe book of stuff that I knew that was good for my family and that I could access easily. So I used that for a long time, and I actually still have some recipes in there that I pull out every once in a while. So that's the most inexpensive way to do it, to have it all in one place. But I'm going to show you my paid system that I think is worth every penny I pay for it in just a minute. Point number 3 is to shop out of your fridge and freezer. And this is actually more of a budget thing than meal planning, but I wanted to throw that in there because that actually plays a big role when I'm meal planning. I'm thinking about what's in my fridge, what's in my freezer, what's in my cupboards. And oftentimes, I can have an entire meal plan for very little money. So I just meal planned right before this call. So I wanted to like be fresh in it. I meal planned for 10 days. And I actually shopped all of my groceries from 2 locations. One's going to get delivered tomorrow morning, and the other one I'm going to pick up after school. And I did it all for $125. So I have breakfast, lunch, and dinner for 5 people, including my nanny's lunch Monday through Wednesday, and for 10 days for $125. I think that's remarkable. I don't know if you've checked grocery prices lately. I used to be able to do it for under 100, and that has just changed. But that is because I'm shopping out of my fridge and my freezer. I know what I have leftovers of, and I'm looking for recipes that use up those ingredients. So I'll show you that. I'll prove it to you. I want you to know that I'm actually living and breathing this, and I feel like I'm in a rhythm of it. So I hope you can learn from me. Number 4 is repeat. That is one of the keys to staying consistent with meal planning, is not trying to reinvent the meal plan every single week. And I'll be honest, I actually like the change up quite a bit, and I like meal planning. And so for me, it's not such a big deal to throw in new recipes every week. For some people, this is not your jam, and that's okay. It doesn't have to be. You need to find 7 meals that you freaking love that you could eat all the time. And that needs to just be a rotating meal. Something that my friends have done. One of my friends specifically is she has 2 of them actually do this now. They have seasonal meal plans. So they're like, I can't eat the same 7 meals for the rest of my life, but I can eat the same 7 meals for 3 months. Like, really, you're only eating them 4 times a month, right? So total, you'd eat them maybe 12 times before you'd switch. And I love that. So their winter meal plan is full of soups and warm meals, right? And their summer meal plan is lots of grilling out, lots of salads. And then I'm not sure what they switch up for spring and fall, but I've actually looked at it and I forget, but that is a really cool option. So repeating, but also having some themes. So it might be seasonal themes. I know. Do you want to see the baby? Hi, baby. Say hi. I'm teaching a class. Can you say goodbye? Say good night. Okay, we're going to see if I can keep going here. Obviously, 3 kids for the husband was a little overwhelming tonight.
Hi.
Okay, here's your last chance. Say hi.
Hi.
Hi. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I'm on repeat. So theme seasons will help. Like you could put your meal plan into seasons.
Mom.
But also another idea that Kristen had reminded me of tonight when I was prepping was to do themed like nights. So maybe you have a night that every week you get to eat out. That's Friday nights for us. Maybe you have a week every night that you're going to do a Mexican meal. Every week you're going to do a night with soup, and every week you're going to do a night with breakfast for supper. Those are just 4 that came off the top of our heads as we were prepping for this, but there's so many more ideas. But that takes a lot of the work out of it, right? On Mondays you do Mexican, and so you're not looking through all your recipes. You're either doing tacos or enchiladas or quesadillas or a Mexican soup or something like that. Soup day, you're just looking through your soup recipes, and you probably have 2 or 3 that you love anyways. So I think that takes a lot of time out of there. The number 5, I have look for recipes with simple modifications for picky eaters. If you have picky eaters, then you have to have some go-to recipes that you can easily modify. So I love Mexican meals for picky eaters because my kids, they have no issue with Mexican. I think every kid will put cheese on anything, at least in my house. And so like tonight, I knew that I didn't have a lot of time. I actually had a call at 5:30 and I knew this class at 8. And so I made Mexicans, very simple. We'll talk about this in our meal prepping class on Friday, but it actually took me less than 5 minutes to make the meal. It was not from a box. I already had my hamburger browned and it was in the fridge from earlier this week when I made a different meal that required ground beef. And so I just doubled it, had the ground beef ready to go. My taco seasoning is already prepped because I have all of my seasonings pre-made in my cupboard. Took 2 tablespoons of that, half cup of water, put it on my browned hamburger, and we have tacos, right? Well, some kids like rice, some kids like chips, and some kids like tacos. So it's all the same meal. All I needed to have was I had leftover chips. We actually had leftover rice from eating out last Friday. Like that's my other budget. You got to come back for all this stuff. My budget ideas when you're at a restaurant and it's rice is served, always ask for extra rice before you leave and use that later on in the week. So anyway, we used the leftover rice, the half bag of chips, and then actually didn't have any tortillas. So they got to choose between. And so that helps when they get that choice. So it's like, oh, you don't want tacos? No problem. You want a rice bowl? Cool. Same food, but in his mind, he got to choose. So he got rice, meat, and cheese, and that's what he ate tonight and scarfed it down. Loved it. So other things for simple, so rice and tortilla shells. Like if you're going to do gluten-free, there's so many options to switching up your menu. So maybe this isn't just for picky eaters. Maybe this is for you that really wants to do phase 3 or level 3, but are really nervous about the gluten and the dairy. I promise you there's so many easy swaps. You can take your recipes that you already love and switch them up. Number 6 is utilizing technology. If you're not a super techie person, maybe this is more challenging for you, but ordering my groceries online, I have to actually type in Doritos, right? To actually get those into my cart, right? It's not just me walking down the aisle and whoops, they fell into my cart. I have to actually type it in, and you won't do that if you're really trying to stay on course. And so ordering your groceries online makes such a big difference with staying on track, specifically with a cleanse, and helps you save so much money. That's why it was only $85 from Hy-Vee and $50 from Aldi, because I wasn't adding in all of the stuff that my kids begged me for down the aisle. My kids are like, when do we get to go grocery shopping ever again? And I was like, I don't know, when you're 25 and shopping for yourself. I mean, there's no reason my kids should ever step foot in a grocery store anymore, because they literally double my grocery bill, even though I'm saying no. I mean, we actually went through this is a total side tangent. One time I took my husband and all my kids to the grocery store, and he actually totaled how many times they asked for things. And based on like how many times we said no, it was like 100. It was so much in a little 30-minute grocery shopping trip. So utilizing technology by shopping for groceries, getting grocery pickup. I'm going to spend 0 time tomorrow getting my groceries. I'm going to drive through Hy-Vee. They're going to put it in the back of my car and I'm going to drive home. And then what you can do with these online grocery sites is create lists. So I could take my entire list that I just shopped for this week, which is all the meals for 10 days, and I could put it in a favorites list and just literally add it all to my cart in 10 days. And do it again. There would be no meal planning. There would be no time involved. It saves so much. You can have a favorites list. I love the favorites list because then I can go through my favorites and just choose the ones that are on sale. That's typically what I do when I'm on a budget. Number 7 is meal planning alongside your weekly calendar. This is so important, and it still is a struggle for me to remember this, but it is so key. You can get all excited about all the things that you're going to make this week, right? And you're planning to like try a new recipe on Wednesday night. Well, if you don't remember that Wednesday night you're taking your kids to some kind of church event at 6:30 or 6 o'clock, and you don't have time to make a meal, like you need a fast meal on Wednesday night, right? And Monday night is this. You have to understand what is in your schedule and what the demands of you. And maybe those demands are every single night. Well, then you've got to have a completely different looking meal plan than mine does. You're going to have stuff in crock pots and instant pots, and you're going to have some things frozen and all that kind of stuff. So you have to meal plan alongside your weekly calendar so that you know what's up. Number 8 is utilizing leftovers. It's so important to understand what your meals make and how much it feeds your family. And this will take a little bit of time. This isn't going to be perfect from the beginning, but I know when I make tacos, if I just make a standard like one recipe, there will be no leftovers. So that's not a meal that we're going to be able to eat again. I would have to double the meat, double the rice to actually have 2 meals, but that's possible. If I know my kids will eat tacos twice a week, then I will double the recipe. So then I don't necessarily need to meal plan another meal for later in the week. I just need to double it when I make it the first time. Does that make sense? So utilizing your leftovers is so important. And then involving, and I'll show you this in my meal plan. Like I know that I'm getting a package of mushrooms for my mushroom burgers, but I'm only going to use half the package. So I'm planning a different recipe that I know uses mushrooms later in the week so that I can utilize that. I also know at the beginning of the week, I'm making some chicken and dumplings. I'm going to try those gluten-free this time. We'll see how that works. But the chicken is a full chicken. I'm going to roast it. I'll get my chicken broth for later in the week. And I'm not going to use all that chicken for the chicken and dumplings recipe. So I'm going to make chicken noodle soup later that weekend, which I know my kids will eat. So that's utilizing leftovers. And then number 9 is involve your family. I always ask them what they want to eat. And I don't necessarily put what they want, but I put something similar to that. Although this week, I think I do have something in there that every person will love. My husband wants the mushroom burgers on Saturday. Can't even remember what my other kids have asked for, but maybe I'll think of it when I get to the menu. And then because why not? Like we need to they need to know there's a meal coming that they put their name on. And so that makes a big difference in our family. Number 10, and the last one is considering using, when you're putting your meal plan together, considering your fresh produce meals earlier on in the week. So if I don't do that, then if I plan a salad, like a whole, like build your own salad on Saturday, but I could pick up my groceries on Tuesday, like nothing is going to be quite as fresh on Saturday. We should be eating salads on Wednesday, Thursday, right? And then like my burgers it doesn't matter if the mushrooms get a little bit weird or whatever, like that's all, like that can happen later on in the week. So that's just something to consider. Now, this has taken a lot of time and years to kind of master, and I don't even feel like I've totally mastered it. So none of these tips are like, if I don't do all 10, I have ruined my meal plan adventure. It's not true. These are just things to just keep in the back of your mind, and you'll keep getting better and better. Yeah. So can I show you my setup here? I didn't even check to see if you guys were asking questions here. Oh, I'm missing all your fun chats here. I'm not sure what you were referencing the setup for frustration, Dawn, but I'm sure something I talked about. Breakfast for supper, Taco Tuesday. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, cheese fixes everything. Online grocery. Okay, anyway, I'll look through those in a little bit here. So let me show you what I have here. This is a website that I have subscribed to called Plan to Eat. Can you all see my screen? I can't see any of you. Y'all are hidden behind black screens. Dawn, you can see my screen, right? Yes, someone nod for me. AJ, you can see my screen? Okay. So what this allows me to do is put all of my recipes in this database. And so I've decided I'm only putting recipes in here that actually taste good. This is not my like, oh, I want to try this sometime recipe base. That doesn't save me any time. So these are all recipes that I have personally made that no one has like wanted to throw in the garbage. Like they're actually decent. Now, sometimes some of these I'm tired of, like I haven't made some of them for quite a while because we made them for too many times. But there's all my desserts, some dressing. Here's all my main courses. And we like shop with our eyes, right? So I'm pretty particular about pictures on my foods because I mean, that's how I decide. Like I'm much more willing to when we get down here to salads, I'm like, oh, well, that actually looks delicious. Like I'll meal plan a salad when it looks like this, right? So it encourages me to make healthier choices when I'm looking at pictures. Anyway, so that's it. Snacks, lots of soups right there, and then some deviled eggs. So these are all my recipes. And the cool thing about this site is I can just add them right from a website. So I was looking earlier, like you could just pull up, let's just, I don't know what we're going to pull up here. So let's just say gluten-free. Oh, I was looking for gluten-free muffins earlier. So let's say we do this. Oh, this is actually the one that I just put in, these gluten-free blueberry muffins. We just made blueberry muffins this week and my kids love them. And I'm like, oh, we're not gonna be able to make those again for a while if I don't have a gluten-free option. So anyway, this recipe comes up, which it's not, because of course it's not. And so let's say we wanted this one. I just copy this link up here and then I go back to my recipe book and I go up here and I import a recipe from a URL and I put the URL in there and then I import it and check that out. Boom, my recipe's in here. Now that's cool, except you don't really know how cool it is yet. So when I'm sitting down to meal plan, I have all of my recipes in here. Here's my meal plan for the week. And I can just click and drag them from here, all of the ones that I have entered into my weekly schedule. So I've gone through, we're going to have smoothies, muffins, all of this. This is all the meals that I plan. And I've literally just taken, so if we were to do the asparagus frittata, I would just take it over here, slide it in. We're going to have it on Wednesday, the 20th. Awesome. But here's the best part of having a system is this one right here, shop. So now I have my meal plan done and I go in here and I want to know what I've got on my meal plan from tomorrow until Sunday. And I can update that range. And now here's all of the ingredients from all of those recipes in a grocery list. So can you imagine what this would cost if I hadn't considered what was in my freezer and my pantry, right? Like 117 things. So here's what I do. Then I go through, okay, I don't have asparagus. I have mozzarella cheese in the freezer. I'll need to buy chicken. Here's it must be an essential oil recipe here. And look, when I hover over it, you can see over on the side what it goes to. So this is my steak marinade with the black pepper essential oil, the dill essential oil, coriander essential oil. Those are my kids' lunches right there. I have this flour. I need to get buns. I have oregano. You see what I'm doing? I'm just going through and I'm shopping out of my cupboards. I have all of this stuff. So anyway, what I did earlier is I clicked through and I removed all the ingredients that I already have in my cupboard. And then I had 25 ingredients left. So there's only 25 things that I needed to purchase from all of my 10-day, well, I guess this was a week worth. And then I went and I just clicked a new tab and I opened up Hy-Vee.com and I put I guess I've already closed out of that. I put all of my list in Hy-Vee.com and I shopped it out of this little search bar and put it all in my cart and checked out, and it was $85. $85 for all of that. And why is that? It's because I don't have a bag of this and a little bit of this and all of those things, right, that we would naturally want to purchase. So that's why I think a system matters, because number one, it's exciting to me. I am motivated by saving money. I'm motivated by saving time, and I'm motivated by having all those ingredients in my house, and I can make so many things at the drop of a hat. So anyway, that is called Plan to Eat. And yeah, you can do a 30-day free trial. Oh, I didn't show you here. I'll share one more time. So the purpose of this was not to get you on Plan to Eat. You definitely don't have to use this. I used to do this exact same thing just with my recipe book. And then I would just read through the ingredients and I would write down the things I knew I didn't have in my cupboard and do the same thing, right? So I would still be able to create my grocery list from my meal plan. This is just a little bit simpler. But if you do have Plan to Eat, if you decide to try it out, then you can be on my friends list here and you get to have access to all of my recipes. So how does that work? Where are you? Oh, see friends over here. So I have 22 friends that have Plan to Eat, and I can access all of their recipes and they can access all of mine. So up here, I just select a friend. So let's find Kristen. That's Living Drop Collective. A lot of you know her, right? And now these are all her recipes that she has put in here. She is not quite as committed to the pictures as I am, which is slightly upsetting, but still good stuff. So it's like, oh, egg and cheese breakfast sandwiches. That sounds amazing. Or here's a quinoa breakfast bake. or I mean, I don't know what the frozen watermelon pineapple smoothie looks like, but that sounds awesome. Here's an Instant Pot steel cut oats recipe. So I could take her recipe and I would click these little buttons and then I would add, oh man, I have too many things on my screen. Then I could just add to my planner and say, well, I'm going to make that when we get into the cleanse on the second week. I'll do that Tuesday for breakfast. And then I would add that to my planner. So then if I went and looked at my planner, you would see I've already got down to the 28th. If I flip to the next week, let's see, where did I get it to? May 3rd. Where did I put it in? I can't see. I got too many things. I got too many screens up, but anyway, it put it in somewhere. What day did I choose? I don't even remember. Oh, I'm in June. That's why. There we go. Instant Pot steel cut oats recipe. I put it on May 3rd. So there it is. Cool stuff, right? I love it. I think you can get 20% off through a code that I have or Kristen has if you're really, really, really interested in getting serious, but that'd be something to have fun and play around with. Let me see. I am all done with my content. It's 8:30. So I'll take any questions you guys want to chat about or any comments or anything you want to share. Maybe you have an app that you use. I know there's a lot of free apps and free resources too for meal planning. And so maybe you could throw those in the comments so people could play around. Mine is $12 if you purchase on Black Friday. They do a half off sale every year. So I just continue to renew every Black Friday. So for $1 a month, I don't know, it's worth it for me. But if you were saving money at the grocery store, you could pay for your meal plan in like, I mean, whatever full price is, $25 or something, you would pay for that in 1 week of what you save in the grocery store. So the Paprika app is what Tanya uses. That's so fun. It sounds fun. How do you put in a homemade recipe? Oh, that's a good question. You can do that. It's a little bit more work, but it's worth it. If you have them, you can either, so there was a lot of recipe options if you saw that. So I think I have to go to cook. Yeah. So I can add a recipe by hand, where you'd actually just like type it all in. I actually just I do it typically on my phone and voice text it in because then I don't have to actually type it out. So that's an option. But I did type them for quite a while. You can actually just clip them from websites. There's a little thing you can download and you'll just click a clip button and it'll click it. But I find that this URL is the one that I use the most, importing from, but look at, there's other recipe apps. Ooh, cool. I didn't even think about that. So if you're on a different app, you could, wow, that's not working. Import recipes from other apps, but the URL is what I use the most. Because you have them all on Pinterest, right? All these recipes that you love or make, and you're trying to scroll back through all the places you save all of these recipes that you see someone share, post somewhere. Well, mine are just, they all automatically get clipped and the URL goes right in here. So that's how you put in a homemade recipe. Yes. So I'll throw my referral links in my event if you want to check that out. I think I get like $7 or something if you sign up for it, which if you want the $7 back, you can. I'm not using, my doTERRA pays me all the income I need. So I'm happy to do that for you. But yeah, if it's just you and you don't mind leftovers, yeah, you cook all your meals for the week over the weekend. So we're going to talk about meal prepping on Friday. I wanted to stay really strict to meal planning tonight, but yes, it sounds like you guys have so many good ideas for that too. So our little cookbook is already done. I was thinking that Kristen put that link up in our cleanse class, but it will be coming up during prep week. But I can get that to you guys sooner if you want it right now. I'm going to stop recording here.